Todd Shank from Premier FPL, bringing the Game Week 21 FPL tips. Today I'm going to be, again, reviewing the upcoming fixtures, going over my rankings for this coming week, as well as following that up with some discussion about some of the players to look at targeting for those teams coming up for Game Week 21. Also looking ahead, again, my ranking does go over Game Week 21 through 24, so kind of looking ahead at some of the teams, some of the players to be picking for the upcoming fixtures. Then I guess I'll wrap up with just looking at some of the captain's picks, and then maybe some of the decisions that I have yet to make for this upcoming game week. So I do want to ask for, get your subscriptions on the channel. That really does help things out. Move things along with getting the subscriptions. Leave a like if you enjoy the video. Feel free to leave your comments as well. Let me know what you think. Let me know what some of your ideas are. Alright, so let's start out here. I did put up my Game Week 21 through 24 ranking. So as you can see here, kind of the top 5 teams to look at for Game Week 21, and then also moving forward, since this does target kind of the 4 game week period here. Everton, United, Arsenal, Burnley, and Chelsea look like the top 5 teams here. In there, United, Arsenal, Burnley, Chelsea, they all have some difficult matches kind of mixed in there. United have Tottenham in Game Week 22. Arsenal then have Chelsea in Game Week 23, which is same thing for Chelsea. If you're looking a little bit farther ahead, teams like Man City here, where they do have Liverpool at home for this week, but that's followed by 3 pretty easy matches. So while it might not be a great time to have City players for Game Week 21, definitely a good time to look ahead at targeting some of them. Watford has some decent fixtures in here. If you're looking at just for Game Week 21, Huddersfield has Burnley, West Ham has Brighton, which could go kind of either way there. At least they're at home, so Brighton has done a little bit better at home. They could make it an interesting match though. Wolverhampton have Crystal Palace at home. Again, that's another one. Crystal Palace didn't look too bad against Chelsea. Whenever that was, Saturday. So that's an interesting one. Even with Crystal Palace here, have some interesting fixtures. No, I discussed them last week as just kind of like a sleeper pick to think about looking at them. So teams to look at, Arsenal has Fulham, United has Newcastle. Those are 2 big ones. You want to look at maybe targeting some of them. Interesting that United has Newcastle away, but yeah, so it remains to be seen whether United can actually keep a clean sheet, but they are scoring goals. Alright, so Everton players, there's Richarlison, Sigurdsson, Dean. I don't know that there's really a whole lot to change about looking at some of them. Burnley, they had Chris Wood did well in their match. Ashley Barnes is another one. So Barnes and Wood are 2 of the players to think about targeting. Even if you arrange them by form here, I'd say Woods and Barnes are 2 of them. Especially if you bring in Barnes here at 5.6, frees up a lot of space to look at targeting some of the big hitters in the forward and midfield positions. So yeah, that's if you're going to buy into Burnley turning things around. They do have Huddersfield away. Huddersfield's not been solid defensively this season, so that's one that could end up in 0-0. Could be a good time to really target bringing in some of those Burnley players to pick up the offensive points as well. And then they do have Fulham at home, so another time to, maybe this is a great time to look at bringing in some of those Burnley players where you can free up a little bit more space up front, especially bringing Barnes, even Westwood here in midfield. Both of them great differential picks, 0.6% ownership for Barnes and Westwood at 1.4%. So I did want to kind of keep this one a little bit short here. I know it's a quick turnaround for the game week. So the two players that I wanted to look at here are Paul Pogba and Leroy Sane, mainly because I currently have Sane in my team. It might be a little bit late to bring in a United player, considering that they do have Tottenham coming up, but at the same time, Newcastle, Brighton at home, Burnley at home, maybe this is a great time to bring them in. So the three players I would say to look at for United are Rashford, Pogba, and Martial. The reason I'm looking at Pogba here is he's been getting forward a lot more. If you even take a look here at his last 3 game weeks, so against Bournemouth 18 points, Huddersfield 15, Cardiff 13, scored 4 goals, 4 assists in that time. Now, not sure that that's necessarily sustainable form, especially with Tottenham coming up. I don't see them getting a whole lot of goals, so it might be a better time to hold off on bringing him in. But at the same time, he's been very involved. Solskjaer's beginning of the season had mentioned, just as a pundit had mentioned, the idea of building a team around Pogba. So he's definitely doing that, building his team around Pogba. The reason I'm comparing him with Sané is because of their price points, and because I currently have Sané in my team, and he did absolutely nothing for me in his last several game weeks here. Picked up a total of 5 points in the last 3 game weeks. He's the player that's been dead weight for me. I already dropped Sterling for Hazard. Of course, Hazard did nothing against Crystal Palace, but coming up, they do have Southampton and Newcastle, so I'm planning to keep Hazard in there. Like I said last week, I'm still thinking about trying to target bringing Salah back into the team for this set of fixtures, game week 22 through 24. I guess we'll see how things shake up by that point, if I would rather have someone like Pogba in there with Hazard, since one of my plans was to drop Sané and look at dropping maybe someone up front as well. So if I'm going to do the Salah pick, I'm going to have to really make some decisions this week so I can set myself up for it. So back to the Pogba versus Sané situation. Appearances are basically the same here, and even the goals and assists are basically the same. Basically swap goals for assists between the two of them. Sané's picking up more clean sheets, so he's getting more points in that area. But as far as shooting accuracy goes, Pogba has 30 shots on target this season, and a lot of those were even coming before when Mourinho was a manager, and he wasn't really able to get forward as much. So I think he's definitely going to be able to get more shots, and just his accuracy here at 73%, I do think that's sustainable for him, just because he is going to get forward a lot more now, and I think that's going to do well for players that do pick up Pogba. The other part too is he's on penalties for United, so good chance to be getting more goals off of penalties for him as well. He's also playing more minutes than Sané. His minutes per goal is lower, but he is playing more. It's a little bit of a toss-up here if you look at the overall statistics. But if you would go in and just look at their last several game weeks, that's where you really notice the difference. Now, Pogba sat out these 2 matches. A lot of this area here where he's only picking up 0 points, that was back when he was having, he and Mourinho weren't seeing eye to eye. With Solskjaer in here, he's really turned things around, and I think this is more of the player that he's going to be. You might say something of a flat track bully, since a lot of his points came, against Everton, that's not necessarily terrible, but against Brighton, against Leicester when they weren't doing well, picking up a lot of his points against some of these lower teams. But if you do look here, looking up ahead, Newcastle, Brighton, Burnley, some great fixtures coming up for him. So this is kind of the swap that I'm considering doing. Even so, Leroy Sane is at 9.5%. Pogba is at 8.2%. Now he has been going up as far as transfers in for this week. You have Pogba. Rashford has that groin strain that he left a little bit early in yesterday's match, so I'm not sure if he's going to be fully fit, but you have Pogba here as the top transferred in player for this game week coming up. So if you're looking at price rises, I don't know that he's really going to get a price rise for this game week yet. So 8.2 should be where he's going to be at. So that's kind of my thought with who I'm thinking of swapping is Sané out for Pogba in. It doesn't necessarily set me up for being able to bring in Salah. I would have to drop Hazard for Salah, which might do, like I said, I was targeting this game week 22, and Chelsea does have Newcastle at home. So I could also just target the game week 23 for swapping Hazard for Salah. I think I said last time, basically since I've dropped Salah, that's been the point where I've started to really drop points, which is why I was thinking about getting him back into my side. He's proved that he can continue to score points. So this whole area right here, I had him up until, I think it was around game week 14 here, was about the time that I dropped him. And so I've really missed out on a lot of points by dropping him, and feel like I would like to get him back in. And the interesting thing is, looking at this makes me really want to bring him in. But against Man City, I'm not so sure if that's the best time. Yeah, I have some thinking to do by this evening. So, thing to remember is that the game week deadline. Game week deadline is tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. I think if that is, I believe that is the British time there. So just remember to make sure you have your team set by that point. As far as captain picks, Pogba might be a good one against Newcastle. If you'd rather go, Aubameyang should be able to get a lot more action against Fulham. Hazard is another good one. Let's see, I do have Kane currently, so against Cardiff, I completely forgot about Tottenham. Cardiff away, it's still Cardiff, and Tottenham are just really have been scoring goals basically for fun most recently. So there is Son and Kane. Yeah, either one of them. Eriksen's still a good choice as far as midfielders go. I only scored the 1 point, but I think that's more of a rarity. Wolverhampton, played well, ended up winning that match. Fortunately, Kane did get the 1 goal for me, so I had him as my captain. That ended up working out, about the only thing that worked out well. I did have Jimenez as well, so he got me a goal in there. Other than that, my game week was really quite terrible. Hazard did nothing. Sané, just the 1 point. Robertson really didn't do a whole lot for me. Most of my points came from, I had Doherty, Jimenez, Kane. So those were where most of my points came from. Felipe Anderson didn't do anything in West Ham's match. Speaking of West Ham, it looks like Arnautovic should be coming back. So having Arnautovic back is somebody else to really look at targeting coming forward. Ended up playing 72 minutes, so I think he's going to be back into starting. They have Brighton at home. The Arsenal match, it's another one, could go either way. They're at home, so Arnautovic is still good to own in there. The only two to avoid here are this Liverpool and the Man City matches, where both teams are just not allowing teams to shoot, let alone score goals. All right, so I think that just about wraps it up here. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to go over, but I think that just about covers it. So, again, please subscribe to the channel. That definitely helps things out. You can always go to premierfpl.com where I do have up my fixtures ranking. I'll put a link for that also in the description below if you want to have access to it. Yeah, leave a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Who's your captain pick going to be for this week? Anyway, I think that'll just about wrap it up. Thanks for stopping in, and I wish you good luck and have fun.